going here. Give it just a minute to boot up. I'm just going to make a quick little stream here, sort of an instructional video on setting up a map. So yeah, let's begin. First up, let's go ahead and open this up. Open with GIMP. The key to using modular tile sets in general is to find out exactly what you're dealing with in the terms of squares. So for this example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And let's just take a look here. Here's our dimensions. And we gotta do a little math here. So 6, 5, 1 is our width, and that's by 5 squares, 330.2. So I believe 330 is going to be our dimensions we're going to work with here. The first thing up, let's go ahead and show grid. And I like snap to grid as well. You can specify your default grid size through the preference settings here. And you can see I currently have it set to 140 by 140. Since the tiles we're working with today are 330, we're going to go ahead and set that. Pardon me, it's been a little while since I've had to adjust my grid sizes. There we go, configure grid. Alright, now you can kind of see it lines up pretty well with the underlying grid that was already in place before. Next up, note that this is just a simple layer, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and expand our image. Let's just start off with a nice baseline here. 20. We're going to do 20 squares. We're going to multiply that by our pixel size per square. 6,600, so canvas size. And voila. Alright, so shortcut key time here. Control and scroll out to zoom out or zoom in. Mouse wheel there. If you click in the middle mouse button, you can move the whole canvas around. Yes, so for getting in some more tiles here, we're going to pick from the ones available to us. So first up, let's take a look at this. Yeah, this looks like a good entranceway. You just take the picture, drag it over to the layer selection here. And now it is in here as a layer, and you can select between each of these layers. You can see the little yellow and black border that switches between them. That's just useful in identifying your layer. So, voila. Now mind you, you can still move other layers by selecting them. Okay, so we got this in place. This is 1, 2, 3, 3 wide. So we'll make a little split right here. And there it is. The next process here, so obviously this does not quite line up. So what we're going to want to do is get this 3 wide piece in place. So using the rotation tool over here, I'm going to select that, and you can click pretty much anywhere as long as you have selected the appropriate layer. If you have the wrong layer selected, it will rotate that, so you want to make sure you're on the correct one. And 90 degrees, and it's rotated. So now we'll move this into place real quick, and you can start to see how this is building out a map. Let's take a look. I believe this, yes, too wide, a little end cap. We're just going to go ahead and throw this on one of them. Put this over here, and we'll zoom in. Now you can see that this layer is currently over top of the new layer we've added. So if it gets stuck like this, where you can't select it without moving other pieces, you'll just want to come over here, find your layer, and drag it to the top of the stack. And just like that, in place. So I can zoom out a little there. So let's add a little something extra, building out to the north here. Just confirm this is a too wide once again. Throw that over there. And put it in place. And once again, we will rotate this. And yeah, that lines up real nice. Now let's move this around to here for now. We'll come back to that piece for other purposes in a little bit. Two by two. This looks like a good extra piece to pull out. We'll just drop that in there. And so now for this piece, we don't want to rotate this. Now mind you, we could certainly rotate it a whole bunch, but we want to rotate this counterclockwise to get it into the correct orientation. So we'll do a minus 90 degrees. And it fits there. Now we've actually run out of space here. So one of the options we could do is we could move this in place and let it overlap, if you don't mind the horrible jaggy edges. But I do. So what we're going to do is leave this out. Now note this is one extra space. So what we'll do is come in here and up our canvas size. 930 by 6930. There we go. And you can see how that's given us the extra piece there on the edge. Let's take a look. This is 3 wide by 2. This might be just a little too big for what we're looking for. But let's just go ahead and try it anyway. We'll see what happens. And let's go ahead and rotate this. Yeah, it's kind of sticking out right over there. Let's see if we have any pieces that'll give us a little down and right. This actually meets our requirements, shifts just slightly. However, it is going to put us way out of line for getting this in position. so unfortunately we don't have any other options there. So we're just going to have to expand out once again the canvas size by an additional 1. And what I'm doing here is this is actually the layers, our current canvas, and this is determining where we want it to end up on the new canvas size. So as you can see, there's extra space here and here from what I'm adding. So I'm just going to shove it into the top right corner to give us that extra bit that we need. Alright. And let's find us a nice little end piece to cap it all off. Let's see, is this 3 wide? It is. Perfect. Alright. And done. It's as simple as that, just to make a quick map. So what we want to do next, let's say that we have an adventurer who is exceptionally skilled at climbing, and you want to end up using this space around here that's blank, essentially. What we're going to want to do is take this layer and duplicate it ridiculously amount of times. So first and foremost, we want it to be hidden behind everything. We don't want it to be above any of the other things. So for this, let's just go ahead and get it back. This is the example where it's over top of things. We want it to actually be behind. So we're going to take this and drag it down in the layer stack to the very bottom. And just duplicate it a few times. That should be enough. So, let's see. Just rotate it so we can use one piece to fill the whole gap up here. Boom. Throw one down here. Down there. Alright, and we'll finish this out in just a moment, but I did want to make a note real quick of the areas here and here. Simple fix for that. We just get one of these ravine pieces. That's only 2 wide. Let's get something extremely long. 2 also. 3. This is perfect. So let's go ahead and take this and we'll throw this on top here. And so if we just push it off the screen like this, you still get the benefits of this without having to worry about whatever it's looking like over there. So let's duplicate that, throw it up here, and good deal. And quick duplicate here, put it down here. And now in order to avoid strange repetition, for some reason humans just don't like seeing that. It looks ugly. Well, we'll do a full 180 rotate, and now it kind of blends in a little better. So let's go ahead and finish off what we started here. Duplicate a bunch of these. Two more ought to finish this all off. Perfect. And we'll cut out that bottom piece in a moment here. So once you've got all your tiles lined up, the easiest thing you can do is come over here, merge visible layers. Boom. Now we have one giant layer As you can see, some of the tiles that we've had outside have made the layer bigger than the canvas. If we kind of move it over, you can see what I'm talking about. These extra pieces we don't want. There's an easy enough way to get rid of those. Alright. And let's remove out this bottom row. So we want to go ahead and set our canvas size. There we go. And that's basically it. Now, if we zoom in, there's going to be a little bit of overlap where there's some funny things. This just comes naturally from the tile pieces not being exactly 330 by 330 to fit quite nicely to the snapped grid, and that also comes in with this gap right here. So in order to kind of erase this, what we're going to do is come here, new layer, just hit OK, and so here's just on a side note, these little eyeballs will make your other layers disappear visually. So we want this back real quick. So let's go down and find a kind of a neutralish color from the whole thing. And there we go. Once the image has been reselected again, you can hold Control, and this turns to the dropper tool. And let's just take that, and as you can see, the color here has been selected. So we'll zoom back out. We've got a nice background color to select with. And then make sure you're selecting your new layer, not the old one, even though it's hidden. Paint bucket, and boom. So now when we turn this back on and we zoom in, you can see that the seam is still there, but it sort of blends a little better. I really don't think most people are going to be zooming in this this much, but for the most part, everything looks real good. Now, of course, you could export this out exactly as it is, but this is not the ideal final format for your map. What you want to do is, well, let's just go ahead and merge these down again. So now we have our final layer. So for example, export as alright, so we're just going full on export exactly as it is as a PNG. You can see it's taken a while to fully build out the image. Come down here, there's our new image. We can pull it up. It takes a while even to load the image. There we go, it's fully loaded now. Okay, so you can see here's the deal. Unfortunate seams, it's just a side effect of the way the tile is built. But you see that the grid did not carry over from GIMP. That's good. You just have the natural grid already in here that was part of this tile set. We can zoom back out here. So it looks good. However, you can take a look here. That is 111 megs of pure pixel picture. Really great if you're an artist or if you want to share this around, you know, at a high quality. Not so good for use in a tabletop, virtual tabletop environment. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and count out our spaces across here. You can also use a reverse formula for that. Canvas size. Let's come over here to my calculator. Clear all this out. And so 7260, we already know we're using it by 330 pixels. That means we are 22 spaces wide, right? And since we know that this is 21, so it should be as simple as going by this. 22 spaces by 70 pixels. And image, scale image, there we go. 1540. And you'll see the bottom number is 1470. So we can confirm this by saying 21 by 70, 1470. It's exactly what we want. And scale it down. And you can see how tiny it is. But one thing you don't notice is once we zoom in, it's still just about the same quality. It's good enough to have a good old, ravine adventure in. And it won't eat up all of the space on your computer or bandwidth loading it into your virtual tabletop. One other trick you can do is when you export this, let's just export it as a JPEG instead. 90 is usually sufficient. You can lower it to 80 if you really want to squeeze out the extra bit. And 1.10. Like I said, if you're really working with a tough budget, you can drop this down to 80. And you can see it's less than a meg in size. That's nothing. It's trivial on most people's connections. It is hardly noticeable between the difference. Like, look, you still get most of the detail in here for each of these tiles. You can still tell exactly what it is you're working with. And now the pixel dimensions are 70 by 70, which actually fits into Roll20 natively. And I mean, Fantasy Grounds or whatever other tabletop you're working with should be able to accommodate that adjustment. And that's it. That's pretty much how you utilize tiles to make yourself a battle map.